Out here in the middle of the country, where the horizon stretches endlessly and the sky seems to go on forever, a unique way of life has taken root. This is a place where the land itself shapes the people, and the people, in turn, shape the land. The American Farm Belt is more than just a region. It's a living, breathing testament to the enduring spirit of rural America. Life here moves to the rhythm of the land, dictated by the changing seasons, the rising and setting sun, and the cycles of planting and harvest. Each day begins early, often before dawn, as farmers prepare for another day of hard work. The fields are alive with the sounds of tractors, the rustle of crops in the breeze, and the distant calls of birds overhead. There's a quiet beauty in the routine, a sense of purpose that comes from working in harmony with nature. We call it the Farm Belt, a vast stretch of fertile soil that spans from the rolling plains of the Dakotas down to the wide-open spaces of Texas, and from the green fields of Ohio across to the heartlands of Nebraska. This region covers thousands of miles, forming a patchwork quilt of farms, small towns, and rural communities. It's a landscape defined by its productivity, where the earth yields an abundance of corn, soybeans, wheat, and other essential crops. This is America's breadbasket, the source of much of the food that fills our grocery stores and dinner tables. For generations, families have worked side by side, passing down knowledge, traditions, and a deep respect for the land. The Farm Belt is a place where community matters, where neighbours help each other during harvest and celebrate together at county fairs. It's a region built on resilience, perseverance, and a shared commitment to feeding not just the nation, but people around the world. Farming here is a legacy, rooted in hard work, family values, and a belief that if you care for the land, it will care for you in return. Every seed planted is a promise to the future, and every harvest is a testament to the dedication of those who work the soil. The lessons learned on these farms, about patience, persistence, and hope, are passed down from one generation to the next, shaping the character of the region. Yet the prosperity of the Farm Belt is fragile, always at the mercy of forces beyond any one farmer's control. The weather can change in an instant, turning hope into hardship. Markets rise and fall, sometimes overnight, and global politics can send shockwaves through rural communities. A single storm, a sudden drought, or a shift in trade policy can threaten the livelihoods of thousands. We learned this the hard way when a trade war put the heartland's promise to the test. Tariffs and international disputes rippled through the Farm Belt, leaving uncertainty in their wake. But even in the face of adversity, the people of this region remain steadfast, drawing on their deep roots and unbreakable spirit. The story of the American Farm Belt is one of challenge and change, but above all, it is a story of hope, resilience, and the enduring bond between people and the land they call home. In 2018, a new kind of storm hit the Farm Belt, one that didn't come from the sky, but from the halls of power in Washington, D.C. For generations, farmers here have weathered droughts, floods, and unpredictable markets. But this time, the threat was different. It was political, and it was personal. The storm was brewed in Washington, D.C., where decisions made behind closed doors would soon ripple across the heartland. The stakes were high, and the consequences would reach far beyond the city's marble columns. President Trump, determined to put America first, launched a trade war by imposing tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. The move was bold, aiming to force China to the negotiating table and secure what he called fairer trade for American workers and businesses. The message was clear. The US would no longer tolerate what it saw as unfair practices. Many in the Farm Belt supported the tough talk, believing that standing up to China was long overdue. At local meetings and in barns across the Midwest, farmers nodded in agreement, hoping that this hardline approach would finally deliver a better deal for American agriculture. But tariffs are a double-edged sword. While they promised to protect American interests, they also risked retaliation. For farmers whose livelihoods depend on selling crops like soybeans and corn to China, the uncertainty was palpable. Every broken stalk and every empty field became a symbol of the risks they now faced. We were told to brace for short-term pain for long-term gain, trusting that new deals would follow. Headlines in rural newspapers warned of tough times ahead, but many clung to hope that the sacrifice would be worth it. In small towns, farmers gathered in coffee shops and at kitchen tables, debating what the future might hold. Yet in every coffee shop and grain elevator, the question was the same. How would China respond, and what would it mean for us? Would the markets recover, or would the pain linger? The uncertainty weighed heavily on every conversation, as neighbors tried to make sense of the new reality. The answer came quickly, and it wasn't what we hoped. China struck back with tariffs of its own, targeting American agriculture. For many farmers, the impact was immediate. Lost contracts, falling prices, and a sense of disappointment that settled over the land like a heavy fog. The trade war had begun, and its first casualties were the men and women who feed the nation. China struck back, targeting American agriculture with tariffs on soybeans and more. Overnight, our biggest export market dried up. Soybeans piled up, prices crashed. Other countries joined in, slapping tariffs on pork, cheese, and corn. Even Canada, a longtime ally, became a new source of trade anxiety. Our carefully built export system was thrown into chaos. Farmers felt betrayed, caught in a fight they didn't start, paying the steepest price. With markets closed, silos overflowed, and uncertainty spread. The Farm Belt was on the front lines of a global economic battle. With buyers gone, prices for soybeans and corn collapsed. For many, selling crops below cost meant financial ruin. Farm incomes plummeted, debt soared, and bankruptcies surged. Generations-old farms disappeared almost overnight. Federal aid arrived, but it felt like a hollow victory. Farmers want trade, not handouts. The bailouts kept some afloat, but created an uncomfortable dependency. Pride was replaced by anxiety as the future of family farms hung in the balance. The heartland's quiet crisis deepened with every passing season. As we struggled, global buyers found new suppliers. China turned to Brazil and Argentina for soybeans, forging new trade routes and investments. Brazil quickly overtook the US as the world's top soybean exporter. Our lost market share became their gain. Relationships and infrastructure shifted for good. Even after trade resumed, we never fully recovered our dominance. The trade war meant to strengthen America instead empowered our rivals. Now, buyers have more options, and our reputation as a reliable supplier is tarnished. The competition is fiercer, and the path back is uncertain. The government's answer was the Phase 1 trade deal with China, promising huge purchases of US crops. Hopes soared, but reality fell short. China's commitments were never fully met. Bailouts continued, but they distorted the market and favored the biggest farms. The core problem, lost trust and lost markets, remained. Aid was a lifeline, but not a solution. Farmers were left more dependent on subsidies, less certain of the future. The promised recovery never truly arrived. We were afloat, but far from safe. Just as calm seemed possible, new trade tensions erupted, this time with Canada. A dispute over digital taxes threatened another round of tariffs on US agriculture. Canada is a vital market for our dairy, grains, and meat. The fear of retaliation brought back memories of the China trade war. Instability is exhausting. How can farmers plan when the rules change overnight? The America First agenda sparked threats of more tariffs worldwide. Every new conflict pushes buyers to look elsewhere, eroding our position. The lessons of the past seem unlearned, and farmers remain on the front lines. The real impact of economic shifts and policy changes is not just measured in numbers or market reports. It's found in the stories from the fields, in the lives of the people who rise before dawn and work until the last light fades. These are the stories that define the heartland, where every season brings new challenges and every harvest is a testament to perseverance. Take Dave in Illinois, for example. Overnight, he lost his main buyer, a blow that sent shockwaves through his entire operation. He watched as prices for his crops plummeted, and suddenly the plans he and his family had made for the future were put on hold. The uncertainty weighed heavily, not just on his finances, but on his sense of purpose and stability. Like so many others, Dave faced the gut-wrenching decision of whether to keep going or walk away from generations of hard work. In Iowa, a young family invested everything they had into building a new hog barn, hoping it would secure their future. But as prices fell and markets dried up, their carefully crafted business plan unraveled. The debts mounted and the stress seeped into every part of their lives, from sleepless nights to difficult conversations around the kitchen table. Their story is echoed in countless farmhouses across the Midwest, where hope and anxiety often go hand in hand. Yet, in the face of these hardships, many refuse to give up. Some turn to diversifying their crops, planting new varieties and experimenting with sustainable practices. Others began selling directly to consumers at local farmers' markets, forging new relationships and building community support. A few found ways to add value right on the farm, making cheese, bottling honey, or crafting artisan foods that tell their own story of resilience and innovation. These changes didn't come easily. They required courage, creativity, and a willingness to take risks. Investments in new equipment, learning new skills, and the uncertainty of untested markets all demanded a leap of faith. But through it all, these farmers showed the true spirit of the heartland. Resilient, determined, and unwilling to let adversity define their future. What farmers want most isn't a handout or a temporary fix. They hope for stability, for fair trade policies that allow them to compete and thrive, and for the chance to plan for the future without fear of sudden upheaval. They want to know that their hard work will be rewarded with a fair price, and that their communities will endure for the next generation. At the end of the day, these men and women want to get back to what they do best: growing food, caring for the land, and supporting their families. They want to see their children run through the same fields they did, and to pass on a legacy of stewardship and hard work. Through all the uncertainty, hope endures. Farmers across the heartland continue to believe that their voices will be heard, and that leaders will finally put the future of rural America first. Their resilience is a reminder that, even in the toughest times, the spirit of the heartland remains unbroken. The trade wars left the Farm Belt changed, more cautious, more indebted, and more aware of global risks. Old certainties are gone, competition is tougher, and trust must be rebuilt. Farmers now factor politics into every decision, making long-term planning harder. Yet, crisis has sparked innovation. New crops, new markets, and new business models. Technology and diversification are key to survival. The future depends on wise leadership and stable trade policy. The Farm Belt's promise endures, but its fulfillment now rests on both the hard work of its people and the wisdom of its leaders. The heartland stands ready, if given a fair chance to thrive.